be me. Be 10, beta as fuck, and lacking many comrades of my own age. Be in the dead of a Canadian summer. Parents signed me up for a YMCA summer day camp for most of July and August. Feelbadman.jpg. I was a quiet kid at that age. Didn't talk to many people and kept to myself, so this was hell for my young self. Looking back on it now, I have softened to those days of innocence and carefree joy. Good times. Back to the tale. First 2 weeks go by with no incidents. Standard day camp activities ensue. Swimming, sports, and religious lessons. Why am I here? I'm not religious. Heresy. Power through that shit. Last thing before we leave. Week 3 rolls around. We all arrive at our designated meeting spot in a group of trees near the soccer field. Counselor has an announcement. Okay, everyone. I'd like to introduce you to our newest camper. She steps aside to reveal this marvel of chromosomal clusterfuckery. This kid was a thin, weedy-looking tard, with greasy hair, a misshaped face, and with one arm distinctly shorter than the other. He also clearly was afflicted with the Downs. He also had this Cheshire Cat-esque smile on his face. The group says hello to him nervously. For the remainder of these tales, I shall refer to him as CT, Camp Tard. CT does not speak much. CT's Wrangler does the speaking for him, jumping in before he can open his mouth. CT is very pleased to meet you, too, the Wrangler says. CT is staring unblinking at us like some kind of retarded statue. The counselor, bless her heart, ended the strange staring contest by bringing out some soccer balls for a game. Good idea.png. CT was brought onto the field. Bad idea.png. One kid, we'll call him Specs, as he was the only one in our group of 8 who had glasses, pitches the ball towards his team from out of bounds to begin the game. CT gets the ball, scanning for targets. Target acquired. CT kicks the ball with a tard strength that we would later come to expect, and we all watched in a mixture of awe, horror, and keck as the ball smashed Specs directly in the face. KO. Perfect. Specs is down, and his glasses are fucked, and all the while CT had that grin on his face. It was at this point we all gained a healthy unease towards CT and what he was capable of. The Camp Tard, Part 2, The Tunnel of Pain. Be me. Be week 3.5. Specs is, as we are told, going to be missing most of camp due to needing glass removed from his face. None of us look at CT. We can feel his tarred grin and soulless eyes staring at us from behind. The counselor presses on and says today is a swimming day. Oh yes, .gif. A little scene setting for you, r/Tardtales. The place I went to camp wasn't specifically designated for just us, but was a public recreation area with soccer fields, a baseball diamond, community hall, and a public beach. To get to the beach, you needed to walk through a tunnel under the road that separated the two. This tunnel was essentially an oversized corrugated drain pipe, big enough for people to walk through. It's also about 3 feet long. Swim time. We proceed in an orderly line toward the tunnel, CT and his Wrangler at the front. I feel for this girl upon reflection. I imagine she was a volunteer to get community service hours. In Canada, you need to get a certain amount to graduate high school, least far as I know. Things might have changed since I graduated. She was assigned to CT, and obviously was in over her head. Not a very strong Wrangler plus an extremely strong Tard equals you're gonna have a bad time. We enter the tunnel and learn something new about CT. For those keeping track, so far we have discovered that CT enjoys inflicting violence of any type to unsuspecting victims, will inflict said violence with no prior trigger or reason, and now add to that list He has enough foresight to use his environment to his advantage and cause extreme amounts of damage. CT is flipping the fuck out. Wrangler attempts to calm him. I have made a grave miscalculation. IGES. CT throws Wrangler into tunnel wall. KO. Perfect. She's out cold. His plan was a success. We are now standing in an enclosed area with a silently raging tard before us, and another group of innocent beachcombers behind. Game over, man. Hudson. CT is giving his tard grin again, but he isn't moving. The counselor, after snapping out of the shock of watching this tard almost break his Wrangler in half, finally attempts to take control. We brace for impact, but the rage subsides, and he waits for the counselor to help his Wrangler up, and takes both to their office. What? Why? How? Anon.exe has suffered an unexpected error. Would you like to restart? Why? Be me. Be restarting from where I left off. We watch CT walk off, staring at the ground in front of him as he walked. Then we hear a baby crying. It turns out the people behind us had a baby in a stroller, and any attack on us would have upset the child, or even harmed it. Seems even a tard like CT has a line they cannot cross. I wish I could meet that baby again and thank him for saving me from a savage beating. We also didn't get to go swimming that day. Gypped.mp4. The Camp Tard, Part 3. The Sound of Drums. Be me. Be week 4 of camp. CT's Wrangler has a broken arm from the tunnel incident, but she still comes back to try and keep an eye on this fucker. Goddamn badass.png. Today is baseball day for sports. The counselor is very cautious and decides to make sure CT is not playing. This was a good plan. This works for about 5 minutes until he breaks from his Wrangler. Again, I feel for this girl, and grabs a bat. Doesn't immediately smash someone with it, so we lower our defenses slightly. The pitcher, a kid I'll call 10, as he was the jock and tended to try and win at everything, decides to throw him a pitch to be inclusive. CT swings the bat hard. Strength was good. Aim was not. Strike 1. 10 takes aim and throws again. CT swings again, even harder this time. Strike 2. CT is getting visibly angry at 10 now. I assume he thought he was doing this on purpose. 10 has no idea and throws a third pitch. Strike 3. CT's grip on his bat tightens, and the counselor and Wrangler start moving towards him to stop what is about to unfold. They are far too late. CT hurls the bat with all of his tard strength, and it smashes into the stomach of an unsuspecting 10. Valedecem.mp3. Farewell 10 for those of you who don't speak Latin. He goes down and starts to puke weakly. CT jumps onto him and begins to wail on him mercilessly. None of us are moving. By the time he is dragged off, 10 is missing 2 teeth, has a broken nose, and is sobbing like a 5-year-old. We never saw him after that day. CT's mother claims harassment. None of us are brave enough to be the one to correct her. Godspeed, you beautiful bastard. The Camp Tard Part 4. Sink or Swim 1. Be me. Be week 5.5. Only 2 weeks to go until I'm free of this. Swimming day. CT is escorted to the beach before we go by the counselor, as the previous one quit after watching 10 be forced to regenerate before he was ready. Dr. Whom? Query? We walk through the tunnel to the beach. It's small and has other members of the public using it. Seagulls everywhere, feathers everywhere, seagull shit everywhere. Fuck it. It's summer, it's hot, and I need to cool down. Commence swimming activities. We are told by the counselor that we need to tread water for 5 minutes. No problemo.gif. 3 minutes in and my legs are cramping. problemo.bmp. I could swim back then, just not in the same spot as I didn't have the muscle capacity or stamina. CT sees me struggling. I see him seeing me. Eye contact. Mucho problemo.exe. CT swims up towards me, the Cheshire grin on his face. The counselor isn't paying attention to the mental patient that is approaching me. Try to nope the fuck out of there. I'm too out of breath to swim away fast enough, end up smashing him in the face accidentally as I frantically kick to get to shallower water. Feel the crunch of my heel hitting the bottom of his chin. This is how I die. CT screams in anger I'd never seen on any mortal, potato or otherwise, and lunges at me. He grabs a leg and I panic. I kick him again with my free foot. My hands touch sand bottom. Thank the 9 divines. Talos.webm. Counselor sees the scene unfold. I get in trouble for provoking him into attacking me. Beta as fuck, so I just nod and apologize. Never get punished. Was branded as an accident. CT's mother is pissed. My mother is more pissed. CT's mother backs down. My face when I lost to a retarded Hannibal Lecter. My face when I also lived to tell this tale. The Camp Tard, Part 5. Sink or swim 2. Sink harder, swim faster. Be me. Be the same week as Part 4. Swimming time. Nah, I'm good, .jpg. I decide to chill under a tree in the shade, far away from CT. He hasn't harassed me since, so I assume that he must be trying to target each of us to assert his dominance, like pissing around an area to make sure the others know that it's yours. It worked on me, as I kept my distance. The counselor decided this would be a great day to try jumping into the deeper water off the pier and break wall. No thanks, .flv. I tag along with the others, but refrain from swimming as long as CT is around. All the kids jump into the lake. CT approaches the edge of the pier, steps back and takes a running start. Dock is wet, slips, this gonna be bad, .bmp. CT spins and flails, smashing his tailbone into the dock before spinning off the edge and falling headfirst into the water. It's like watching a train wreck. I couldn't look away. Stifle a keck. A loud, enraged scream can be heard from under the water and grows in volume upon breaking the surface. All the kids near him give him a wide berth, praying that they wouldn't be next. CT is mad at, well, everything. He climbs up the steel ladder back onto the dock and eyes everyone below him. I could only assume that he thought everyone in the water was at fault for getting the dock wet, and decided to punish one kid as an example. Maybe I'm giving this psychotic ball of tard too much credit? Scanning for targets. Target acquired. Leaping into a cannonball, CT set his sights on a short, fat kid we all nicknamed Stump, on account of his height and his diameter. Poor Stump couldn't swim fast enough, and this kid came down upon him with a great fury. It's raining downs. CT isn't the heaviest of us, but even if 100 pounds landed on you at the mercy of gravity, it would do damage. CT cannonballs directly onto Stump with an audible smack, and we can tell he's having a bad time. Thankfully, the counselor dove in and got CT away long enough for Stump to break the surface, crying and blubbering. I'm asked to escort him to the office. We don't see CT for the rest of the day. Stump was alright, but he doesn't come back. CT's parents called for Stump's expulsion from the program for purposely soaking the dock. And another one gone, another one gone. Another one bites the dust. The Camp Tard, Part 6. I Am the Night. Be me. Be week 6. New kid joined the group after we lost 3 more due to CT's accidents. We called him the Knight. Knight was an extremely polite, kind, and gallant lad. Loved King Arthur. Wore a lanyard from medieval times every day he was at camp. Stood up for the more beta kids when we got bullied. Tries to treat CT as a normal person. This confuses everyone, CT included. Why do you go where I cannot follow? Knight tries to instate a policy of live and let live. If we ignore CT, he won't bother us. Forgive him, Father, he knows not what he does. The sport for today was flag football. All of us can see CT with the ball. We avoid that shit. CT charges in, ball in hand. Tard run, activate. He smashes into a kid, sending him tumbling. Another tries to tackle him, but CT kicks him in the shin as he runs by. Knight is annoyed, but is still giving CT a chance to reform his ways. He reaches for the flag on his belt. CT sees this. With a loud scream, CT grabs the lanyard around Knight's neck and pulls. The lanyard spins and starts to choke Knight, who falls to the ground. CT is now choking him with his own lanyard. Where is a fucking referee.png? The counselor runs up and CT relents. Knight stands, but we can tell he's not done with this Tard. There's a storm coming. The Camp Tard Part 7, Tardal Combat. Be me, be week 7. From what I recall, a few more incidents occurred with CT, and while he was a clearly disturbed individual, completely outside of the fact that he was a Tard, the kid's mother would probably have sued the organizers for discrimination or some such shit. Therefore, he was given a slap on the wrist or a severe talking to after almost murdering and maiming his fellow campers. We're down to 4 of us now. Specs finally returns, and we welcome him like a brother in arms. Shit be like Lord of the Flies here. Knight had also convinced us to stand up for ourselves, and some of us had. CT's shit had slowly lost its effect in the last week as we started to ignore or straight up confront him. CT has a new wrangler, his 4th counting the counselor. But this guy was beyond your simple, everyday Tard wrangler. We called him Wrangler Bro, on account of him being a very chill adult. Think Matthew McConaughey's character in Dazed and Confused, but when it came to CT, he took none of his shit. CT has become more vocal in the last few weeks with Wrangler Bro around, as he has been unable to show his growing frustration and retardation by simple gesticulation alone. He begins to make this weird sound whenever he's angry, that sounds like the mix of a whine, a growl, and a gurgle. He also screams whenever he punches someone, as if he's trying to channel some autistic version of Son Goku. Lunchtime. We are all at our designated eating spot. Finally interacting with peers. Our hatred and fear of CT is a rallying point. Feelsgoodman.exe. Fucking starving, about to take a bite out of my sandwich. I hear a blood-curdling scream, the likes of which I have not heard since that day. Everyone looks as Specs is screaming in pain, confusion, and pure terror. A tree branch is sticking out of his head. A fucking tree branch. CT is standing with his grin as Specs is flailing. The deranged motherfucker sharpened the end of a branch and used his strength to jam it in so hard it broke his skull. Specs is crying and running around, even as Wrangler Bro and the counselor are attempting to remove the branch from him and apply first aid. Wrangler Bro finally managed to get some bandages on Specs' head and calm him down, all while the counselor went to phone the ambulance. I'm just trying to eat my goddamn lunch.bso. CT gives a Tard-like gurgle laugh as he walks by Knight, who was done with his shit. Taking the still dripping stick into his hands, he swung with all of his strength, catching the Tard in the throat. CT goes down and stares up at him in confusion, as did we all. CT had intimidated us into being fearful of him, and had taken us down one after the other. The whole time he gave off this aura of being unable to be harmed except by his own retardation. And yet now, a brave soul had stepped forward to end his reign of tyranny. Wrangler Bro did his best to stop the fight, as was his job, but friendships tend to fail at the onset of battle. Knight thwacked Wrangler Bro in the back of the leg and he went down hard. CT lunged at Knight, who uses the stick as a mace, smashing the Tard straight in the face. Paladin class confirmed. I swear if you slowed down the footage, his face would have appeared normal for a brief second. At this point, Knight is a whirling dervish, and even Wrangler Bro is avoiding him. The rest of us are watching in awe, when one kid, we'll call him Crier, yells out, "We have to help out Knight!" Knight's bravery inspired us all, and the group ran to try and get their shots in on CT, who is still dazed from the branch. So much for lunch. Tard war. CT had managed to grab the stick and had Knight pinned under him, trying to stab the branch into him. We set upon him with a vengeance. One kid, named Sean for ease and lack of creativity at this point, puts him in a headlock while the rest of us are curb-stomping the little fucker's balls. CT is getting mad. Tard Rage Final Form activate. CT screams and forces himself to his feet, throwing Sean by his arm into the group. I recall his foot hitting me in the forehead, which dazed me. I decided to nope the fuck out of there and found some cover. The rest of the group followed this lead, and CT turns to see Knight standing. No weapons, no backup, no signs of fear. CT attempts to perform a rhino-like gore, screaming in Tard Rage, but Knight simply steps aside. He uses his foot to catch CT's own as he passes, taking him off balance. Everyone watches as the Tard stumbles, trips, and smashes face first into the goalpost of a soccer net. A loud ringing noise can be heard over the stunned silence, his teeth hitting the metal at the speed of Tard. The sound of sirens finally breaks the quiet. The counselor comes running up with 2 hospital personnel and sees the chaos that has happened. Knight standing, stumbling and woozy, and CT unconscious atop a patch of blood-stained grass. CT was loaded up into the ambulance, and the rest of us were sent home due to misconduct and assault. CT's mother was mad. Our mothers were madder. I was punished. Fuck it, it's summer. I'm not in school, not in camp, and away from that psychotic asshole. Life is good. .jpg. The Camp Tard, Epilogue. Be me. Be 30, writing this post. Learned that the Tard's mother was sued in court by Specs' own, and she ended up winning the settlement. CT was put into a mental home where he's kept away from the public. I feel for those Wranglers. Specs made a full recovery from what I heard from Wrangler Bro. Haven't been able to contact him since then. Knight continued in his paladin duties and wanders the countryside, looking for evils to smite. Wrangler Bro retired from his life of handling retards and started a protein and dietary business. Honestly expected him to open a weed dispensary, but I guess that goes to show that people are full of surprises. And as for me, I'm cautious of Tards and what they're capable of, but I will never forget the Camp Tard as long as I live.